on the internet, just learn about these things, and as long as I like make a stink or I take some crazy viewpoint, like that kid fucking like people like Charlie Kirk who are just like, I'm just gonna go say crazy shit, and it's just, I'm gonna take the Rush Limbaugh model, I'm gonna ride that to the top, and then people just go, how can I be more and more inflammatory? How can I say the next thing, the next level up? Because if I say things that are similar to everybody else, I'm not gonna get noticed. And people know this, they're just trying to, I don't even think half the people online believe 90% of the shit that they say. It's just about a way of, getting their voice to be heard and, having more influence.
Right, definitely. And I feel like when it comes down to people saying, something that's different to try to be noticed, they're going about it wrong. And I'm not trying to get up our own asses here by saying we're so special, but all the same, all I mean is people are just saying crazy shit to say crazy shit because it's different. Wouldn't it be better if you said things that are different, but are what you actually believe, or things that are your own opinions that are actually unique and special, instead of just going out and saying the earth is flat just for a drop in the bucket example.
Well, right, and just as a throwback to last week, if my hunch is right, and I do believe it was, about why the Mr. Potato Head thing happened and why Hasbro did that they were just trying to make a stink with a PR campaign, and just if we're to the point now that it's just all about who can outrage people more than the next person, that advertisers and companies are now taking advantage of it and saying, you know what? People have such a desire to just be outraged and talk about shit online. We're just going to start making fucking moves with our product lines to drive that outrage machine, because it's clearly going to be profitable for us, So if that hunch is correct, I mean, that just even shows even more how bad the problem has become.
Oh yeah, it's the personal philosophy equivalent of your favorite edgy music from when you were growing up being played in the grocery store. If companies are going to adopt it like that, it's people are going to get mad about this. Let's capitalize on it. So yeah, it's
a bad place to be in.
It is.
Yeah. It almost goes to your point, saying, at least say something you believe. It's couldn't you at least, sell us your product on its merits rather than, on some... Or back to the corporate social responsibility companies who are trying to donate shit off of your guilty feelings or whatever, so that they can sell more product. It's all just do... Why can't people do shit for the right reasons? Just do make a good product, sell it because it's good, and then when you have extra money, donate it, or make a good product and sell it not because you had to create a controversy online, but because your product is that enjoyable, for people to use, or I don't know, you get the point. But the question it did leave me with is kind of you wonder, obviously we can't just live in a society where we trade money back and forth because of videos that we all make online. The money has to come from some actual fucking industry at some point. So it's just so crazy that we have so many people, and it's This is what it comes down to. Because the internet's accessible to everybody, it would be if every pro sports team had open tryouts for anybody that wanted to try out all year long. And you would have 60% of people who are delusional and think they're just as talented as the people who are actually pro athletes would be spending their entire year fucking working out and going like Happy Gilmore trying to make the fucking hockey team. You'd have all these people trying to do that just because there's open tryouts, there's no level of no, you gotta make it this far before you can actually have recognition, so it's just if I just get that one tweet right and it gets shared like 25,000 times, I could gain like 10,000 followers, and now all of a sudden I just do that a few more times, you know, and like that's all people think about. Like, I'm just going to keep trying to do that. I'm just going to keep trying to do that. And it just, or even for like journalism, you know, like it used to, or for people who wrote books or things like that, you'd have to, you know, somebody who had experience. And it's good that this doesn't exist like completely. Like, we do have better creativity, we have better music because it's more available. Like, there's so many bands that can make an honest living now that, like, back in the day you'd have to get signed, or that was the only option. So I'm not trying to say it's all bad, but it's just, there just almost needs to be a way for just it to be like, I don't even know how to explain it because I don't know how it would work, and it sounds like I'm really trying to put like a bad, like, say that it's so bad that people have so much access. But if there were just better places to get information from people who actually deserve to have a voice, like that wouldn't be a bad thing either. And the blue check marks kind of help on Twitter, but also that then you're like, well, why do those people have so much more power than the other? It's really hard to find an answer because you see, I can see the value on both sides of it, you know?
Well, going back to your analogy about like open tryouts for professional sports, there is it does tie in very well with like how influencing and like all that works online. And there's this kid that he's like 22, 23 that I have to deliver to his store sometimes. And he just keeps talking up how he wants to be a boxer, even though he's probably 5'10", like 250 pounds. He's a pudgy little fucking weakling, like just little hick kid. And he just keeps talking every time I go there, like how much he wants to enter into the Golden Glove, like the boxing championships this coming summer and all that. And I just don't have the heart to tell him, you're going to get your ass kicked. Like, and maybe he needs that.
Well,
but,
at least
with
boxing, there's different weight classes. I mean, there's tiny at, like, fucking think about, like, Manny Pacquiao. But if he's 5'10" and 250, he'd get his ass kicked because he'd be going up against, like, somebody who's, like, 6'4" and 250 pounds. That's the problem.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's just like some 16-year-old who thinks they're funny because they can go into a or onto their phone, and someone who actually has something to say that they're emulating that creates content.
But then you also, like, I find it so interesting to hear, like, sometimes about people who get, like, famous on TikTok, and they'll get, like, hundreds of thousands of, like, people following them for really, like, simple things, you know, just dumb, like, dumb videos that they put out regularly. And then it does make you wonder, like, well, maybe I just don't get it. You know, like, if you get like hundreds of thousands of followers, people who do that shit, I guess they're doing something right. So you can't really hate on that. But yeah, just the constant idea though of like, this is how I'm going to make my money. This is what my career is going to be. Like, I think that like that needs to be kind of like quelled. Like, it's cool that we like all can make content and stuff, but like I don't think it should stop people from like learning a real skill, getting good at like one thing, and like trying to have like, you know, a real job. Like, I don't think that's a bad thing either, you know?
No, because that's also necessary. I mean, of course, everybody. This is going to sound pretty like I'm talking down to people. I'm not trying to, but like.
Well, then don't do that.
No, I'm not talking down to anybody. I just want to, you know, give that a disclaimer. But like,
I'm just saying, so it's phrase it in a way that doesn't sound like you're talking down to me.
Excuse me, but all I'm saying is that it's okay to have to not be a superstar. You know, like regular jobs need to exist. Not everyone's going to be a YouTube celebrity or an Instagram influencer. Like, it's all right to like find something else that makes you happy, that you can do, that gains you a living, and you know, you can live happily. Like it's okay to have dreams, but it's also a thing that you need to like sometimes accept at a certain point that maybe I'm not going to be famous just because I make YouTube videos.
You know, and not even because obviously I'm in complete like agreement. It's everything we've been talking about. But as you were just talking there, I was thinking as well as I was listening, and it did dawn on me a little bit that like the job market for like decent jobs and being able to make like a good amount of money is so weak that I guess that has to have like quite a lot to do with why people set their sights on that anyways. You know, there's so many, like, we can't even get $15 an hour minimum wage, which is still only comes out to like, you know, $20,000 or $30,000 a year, which in this day and age, you know, is not a ton of money for like somebody to be living on. You know, even if you have two person, you know, in a family, they want to start a family, and now they want to raise kids on like 60 grand a year, and they're both trying to work jobs and shit. I guess it makes sense that we have so many people that say like, well, hey, I can work this shit job and barely get by, but if I try really hard at like trying to make this like content, maybe I'll actually strike it, you know, and I'll be one of the lucky ones to like make this money. So perhaps from the initial point of view, a little bit short-sighted to wonder why people are doing this, like what came first, the chicken or the egg, but also if we forget about other things, I mean, also though, maybe we turn into more like, there's a lot more entrepreneurs now too, not even people just trying to make it on YouTube, which that's kind of cool. People start their own little businesses and try to make money that way,
yeah,
but
that's great.
I don't know, maybe it just comes down to everything's changing and like, the world's so out of balance right now, and we can't really figure out exactly like how to take all these new technologies and all these new things like and make it like work for everybody. I don't know, just a lot. There's so much uncertainty right now.
It's definitely a learning curve that we're all going through, no matter what age you are, as technology grows and we all deal with it. I mean, obviously, like guys like you and I, you're a little older than me, but generally, like the millennials, you know, the definition of that is like grew up without this and then lived to see it become what it is now. And then there's like the Gen Z or whatever younger that like it's always kind of been part of their life. But all in all, it is just like a learning curve that we all are trying to adapt to and figure out how to use it in the best way for not only ourselves, but for just the generally everything, I guess is all I'm saying. But I guess if I may, my one for the road would be like, it's okay to have a dream. Absolutely pursue your dreams. But all the same, if one dream doesn't work out, it's also okay to develop a different dream.
Oh yeah, and also it's just good to be like good at a real skill. That's all I want to tack on to that. Like have at least like something you know how to do that like you can do well. That's more than, you know, making videos. You know, it's good to know how to like build a table or a chair or do a little shit like that. You know, like or like little stuff like that. That's a good skill to develop too. A little something you can sell. I don't really have that many myself. Well, yeah, whatever. It doesn't need to go down. No, I would say actually my hard skill that I could always rely on is cooking food. Even though it's not as hands-on as the stuff I was saying, like building stuff, but like I know I could always like get a pretty good job doing that. You know, I think everybody should have something in the back pocket that way.
Mm-hmm. And that's how it goes. You know, if your band doesn't work out, maybe you can still make a really decent spaghetti bolognese.
Exactly, and this is the moral of the episode. It's just really two old curmudgeons, really in the back of our mind, still being salty that we're not rock stars.
Yeah, basically. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for listening. This has been the Loose Stool with Matt and Nick. If you'd like to follow us on social media, that is at Loose Stool Pod on Twitter. If you'd like to buy us our next beer, we'd be ever so grateful. That is the Loose Stool on Patreon.com. We hope you're doing well out there. We love you, creeps. We'll see you next week.